today's going to be more of a 15-minute flow. We're going to go a little bit longer than the last one. So go ahead, let's get our timer started, and we're going to actually start today down onto our stomach. We're going to work a little bit of decompression from the stomach today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by tucking the toes. So you're going to notice I'm pulling my toes up towards my shins. I'm going to think of internally rotating my thighs. And when I do that, what you're going to notice is your heels should be pointing away from each other. So we're going to tuck the toes, gently rotate those thighs in. And then next, I'm going to think of pressing my thighs or knees into the mat. When I press my knees down, notice where my hips go. My hips start to go up. So again, this is going to be pressure you're going to play with by pressing the knees and thighs down gently, or if you want to press them down a little bit harder because that's giving you some more relief in the low back, hip area. Next, we're going to take our arms. We're going to anchor them straight up overhead. So I'm going to think of my fingertips like claws. I really want to reach and get long. Really pull those toes up. Forehead will start onto the mat. And then from here, I'm going to just gently pull my forehead and nose straight away from the mat. So you notice it's as if a string is pulling the top of my head or the back of my head up above me. My hands are anchored above me, and then my heels are extending down in the opposite direction. So I'm getting kind of like this tug of war between the upper and lower half of the body to create a little bit more space and length into the body. So from here now, we're holding in position. Now we're going to really tune into our breath. We're going to go big inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Start by breathing into your low belly space. So see if you can feel your stomach and belly button region expand and press into the floor as you inhale. And as you exhale, it should gently retract away from the floor. Now with each breath, I'm going to keep increasing the length of my inhale and exhale. And I'm going to think of taking that breath from the low belly space into the back space of the body, really pulling it up into between my shoulder blades. So now with each inhale, I'm thinking of getting taller. My body's getting longer. Trying to breathe up in between those shoulder blades. Feel the expansion of the ribs on the sides. When we exhale, again, imagine like you have a corset on that's knitting a little bit tighter, knitting the front side in. We're going to go for about 20 more seconds here. Any sort of micro adjustments you feel like making, whether that's into the head or the neck, shoulders, hips, feel free to do so. All right, from here we're going to slowly release, bring the tops of the feet to the ground. That's about 3 minutes. So aim to do decompression like that for 3 to 5 minutes. Again, for the sake of this flow, we want about 3.5 minutes. And I'm going to have you walk your feet to the bottom left corner of your mat. I'm going to cross my right foot on top. I'm going to think of gently rotating that right leg in just a little bit more. My left elbow is going to pull down towards my hip. Right arm is going to reach up and across. And I'm getting this really good stretch and lengthening across the right side of the body. Just lower my cheek or forehead to the mat, whatever comfortable for you. And again, staying tuned into that breath. We're going to really focus the breath now into that right side of the body where we're getting length. And then check in, see where maybe you're holding tension across that whole right side. Maybe it's up in the shoulder, armpit area. Maybe it's more across that right side body, the rib cage. Maybe it's down more towards the hip, the front side of the hip or the low back. We can play with this right foot that's on top. We can play with that of gently pressing the foot down, or again, pressing that right knee and thigh down to keep that lower half anchored as I continue to try to reach up and across. All right, that's been about a minute. We're going to slowly make our way to the opposite side. So we'll come back to center. You're going to now walk the feet to the bottom right corner of your mat. Left foot will be on top of the right. Now I'm going to side bend, right elbow towards my right hip, reach my left arm now up and across. And now we'll go into the opposing side. So we should be getting length now across that left side of the body. Again, we can play with gently pressing the left knee and thigh down, or maybe pressing the foot down. Play with a little bit more internal rotation. And as we're holding these positions here too, make sure you're doing your best to release tension, at least releasing any tension you're holding in the face. With each exhale, we can think of releasing any sort of tension or things that we're holding on to in the physical body. Let's take one more full inhale and exhale here. Good, and we'll slowly release. And come back to center here. We're going to press back up into tabletop position. You have your blocks here for this next movement. You don't need them, but if for some reason accessing Seiza position is tough for you and you got a lot of pressure on the ankles, knees, or hips, we can take a block and elevate the hips. I like putting it right between my ankles, so again, I can keep my toes in and my heels out just a little bit. This is if you need to modify. We're going to go into a few shoulder movements right now. I'm going to give you the side view just so you can see. We're going to start from the seated posture, and we're going to start by pulling the shoulders forward, so into protraction. I'm going to elevate, and then I'm going to pull them back into retraction. Notice as my arms open up, I'm rotating externally in the shoulders. Shoulder blades now pull down into depression. I'm going to make that full circle again. We go forward, shoulders rotate internally. I shrug up. I open and pull back and down. If you want to use and follow the breath here, we inhale as we come up. Exhale as I roll down and back. And all we're trying to do here is make the biggest, smoothest circles we can with our shoulders, glenohumeral joint, our shoulder blades, again, all part of the shoulder girdle. We want these parts to all move nice and smooth and glide along that rib cage on the backside. Any sort of crunching or cracking or anything you're hearing in that joint too, totally fine as long as there's no pain associated with it. Now let's reverse that motion. I pull down and back, palms open forward as I rotate those shoulders externally. We're going to shrug up, rotate in and down. Again, notice here too, I'm not slouching, I'm not leaning back, thinking of keeping my sternum lifted. Still have that awareness into my cervical, keeping the chin just gently pulled back. I don't need to do anything too hard. Good. As you continue with those, I'm going to come back facing forward just to give you another view of the next movement we're going to go into. Now from here, we're going to alternate. So we're going to start alternating side to side. And now, not only are we getting the shoulders, we're getting the spine now. So I want to see that sternum should be rotating from side to side, and we should be getting a little lateral flexion and extension with this one. And if you feel a little bit rigid or uncoordinated here, totally normal. Our goal at first with a lot of these movements is to just get comfortable with them. Start making them smooth, start trying to feel a little bit more fluidity with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now we're going to take the hands right onto the shoulders here. I want you to think of the elbows as pointers. We're going to make some big circles. So I'm going to pull the elbows forward, point forward, pull them up as much as I can. And I'm going to circle around, pull back, get those scaps pulling back behind me. Again, move at your own pace. Just doing your best to make the biggest, fullest circle you can. It's always nice, too, with a lot of these motions that we're doing, closing the eyes, focusing your awareness inwards. Let's go and reverse this now, forward. Little compensations I'm paying attention to here is as I pull back, that I don't just throw and jump my ribs forward. I want to keep those ribs back. Just to give you a little side view of what this one looks like. Again, the position of my body. Notice I'm not leaning back. I'm not rounded and slouched. I'm still staying nice and tall. I can even try to find a little bit of glute engagement here to just keep me anchored down by gently pulling my knees apart. Let's get 2 more here. Last one. Good work. Let's shake that out. Swing the arms back and forth a few times. We're going to make our way into tabletop. And we're going to start working through some cat-cows at first, and then we're going to take it into a segmented cat-cow. So the first video, the sequence we did, we went through some of these. So let's start in extension. I'm going to think of my butt up towards the sky, chest forward, gaze up. I don't want to really crank my neck too far forward, just enough so my eyes are forward, gaze is up. I can even think of keeping my chin back a little bit. I'm imagining like I'm pulling my hands down towards my knees. We're going to take a big inhale here. As I exhale, press the tops of the feet down, round the spine to capacity. Inhale back into extension, hands pulling down towards the shins, knees gently ripping apart. Go and start moving at your own pace here, and we'll slowly work into those segmentations. Now, for our segmented cat-cow, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to put a lot of focus. Again, we have in our spine, we have each vertebrae stacked. We can segment, rotate, bend at each one of these junctions. So we're going to try to do that. It's going to take a lot of awareness. Again, don't worry about trying to look like me or doing it perfectly at first. Just jump to it, start feeling into it. Both of these motions now, as we go through our cat-cows, I'm going to focus on starting from the low back and then moving like a wave up the spine. So we're going to start here. Again, I'm going to be in extension. I'm going to start from my low back, so I'm going to do my best not to move my upper back or my neck until I get up to that area of the spine. So starting in the low back, I'm going to gently start by slowly moving into flexion. All the way until we're rounded to capacity. Now from here, again, my upper back and neck are going to stay put until the end. I'm going to start with my low back, working into extension first. Again, you're going to work this at your own pace, as slow or as fast as you'd like.
So you saw I sped that one up, or I could really slow it down. This is what we're finishing with today. We're going to slowly go through this for one more round together. And that's it for this little sequence. Again, not a lot of movement, just ones to focus on, gain control over. Again, go through it, let me know what you think, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.